Good evening and welcome to another Travel by Troy cruise night. I'm excited to have Ann Chamberlain here with AmaWaterways, who's going to discuss all the benefits and luxuries of river cruising and some of their amazing itineraries that they have. And then at the end, we will do a couple of drawings and giveaways. But if you have questions, please feel free to put that in the chat and I'll monitor those, and then we can answer the questions at the end. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ann.
Great. Thanks, Troy. Hi, everybody. It's such a privilege to do this. I love to do client guest presentations. So much to share about river cruising. And Troy, just really want to thank you in all the ways there is to say thank you for setting this up. And I know we're going to record it, so we'll have it also available on your website for those that aren't able to make it this evening. But also thank you to all of you for taking your time out this evening to learn a little bit more about river cruising with AmaWaterways. So for those of you who have been on ocean cruises before, I'm going to talk a little bit about the differences with river cruising. What we like to say, oceans take you to countries and destinations, and rivers take you through the heart of the destination. And this is a beautiful shot going through the Rhine Gorge in Germany of what it's like to river cruise. Very relaxing and comfortable, with land on both sides, stopping in quaint villages and towns along the way. And you can see a castle there on your left. And it's just a really authentic, relaxing way to cruise. It's like being on your own private luxury, you're in your own private luxury boutique hotel as you float down the major waterways in Europe and around the world. And another thing about river cruising versus ocean is that the ships are very small, and they're right-sized for river cruising in that they hold approximately 156 guests, only 156 people. Our smallest being 28 in size in Africa. And to the largest on the Danube River, which is just under 200 guests at 196. But no need to worry about getting motion seasick or the patch or anything like that. And certainly we have a lot of onboard amenities I think you'll be pleasantly surprised to learn about when you're on a river cruise. So here's a shot of one of our vessels. This is our flagship, the Ama Magna, and you can see that they're long and thin. And that's because they go underneath those bridges straight ahead. So with river cruising, everything is about height of the river. Height as far as, is it low, is it high? And what our operations team is monitors rivers heights and picks destinations and stops along the way that are right in the heart of town. And this is Passau, which is in Bavaria, South Germany. And you can just see how quaint that is. You just walk right off the ship and you're in a small village and there to explore. And you don't have, 4 or 5 other large 1,000, 2,000 passenger cruise ship dock. It's just us and maybe another river or 2 cruise ship that will park alongside us or next to us. But we like to say in river cruising, it's all about location, as you pull up into the heart of the cities through Europe. The other thing that's really neat about river cruising with Ama is that we have a fleet of bicycles on board. For those of you that are do-it-yourselfers that don't want to be on a tour necessarily one day, but want to go off and explore the town, you just check a bike out on board. We even have children's bicycles too that you can use that are complimentary throughout your 7-night cruise experience. So exploration is a big part of the river cruise experience. It's very authentic, up close and personal. You'll see on our tours that I'll talk about in a minute that we have smaller groups. You don't see one lollipop sign, with 60 people winding through a village, but there's smaller groups of, say, 10 to 15 people that are experiencing the local flavor of the town or the village or bicycle riding. So again, up close and personal is another way to describe it. It's very cultural as well. That we know that going to Germany can be exciting for a lot of people and experiencing Oktoberfest in the fall. So what we decided to do is to make it year-round. So when you cruise with us on the Danube, on one of our river cruise experiences, that will bring the Oktoberfest experience to you, an authentic cultural experience. The new experiences too, we do wine tasting and wine pairing at meals on board the ships, but it's even more than that. We take you off the ship on wine tasting tours throughout France, and also on the Rhine River, where you can taste the local wines, you can meet the growers, go to the vineyards, learn about how they make wine over in Europe, and pick up a few tips and tricks on sampling good wines. One thing about our company, which I really enjoy, is that we are family owned and operated. We're owned by three lovely people. Rudy is known as the godfather of river cruising. He's on our left. He actually started three other river cruises before starting AmaWaterways. So we call him he's just a master of river cruising, and his wife, Christine, in the middles are sales and marketing, and Gary, another owner in the company, and highly involved. So all three owners are terrific to work for. We're located in the USA, which makes it really nice because they understand the American market and the American guest experience. And they're just down in Calabasas, California, where the rivers flow. So one thing about AmaWaterways is with our cultural heritage, and Rudy being from Austria, and Christine being from Germany, and Gary's from Ireland, with a lot of tour and land experience, we cover the rivers of Europe. We have over 22 vessels that operate in Europe. Oh, and by the way, we own all of our river cruises, so we do not carry any mortgage or debt on our ships. So it's another thing is that we're a highly profitable company, and therefore able to invest a lot in the client or guest experience on board. But we cruise all the major waterways in Europe. And if you look on your far screen down there with the gray area, that's Portugal. We cruise along the Douro River on a wonderful 7-night, 8-day experience into Spain. There at the tip of Spain along the Douro River. Those cruises are very full this summer. We're almost 100% capacity on all of the cruises on the Douro River, because you cruise through pretty much one country, Portugal, as you go into Spain at the end, or at the start if you're going in the reverse direction. And then you can cruise from the Netherlands all the way down to Switzerland. You can pass through many countries. And as our operations team likes to say, we do all the planning. 30% of travel or more is planning, and where you're going to go dine or park or hotel stays, and how are you going to get to this destination or the next. But all those little black dots that you see there along the river are stops along the way that we make. So again, unpacking only once, making it easy, and every day you wake up to some beautiful village or quaint town, or spying a castle on either side of the vessel. So that's as far as the Europe experience. Let's see if I can click to the next one. I seem to be frozen here. There we go, our ships. So as far as our ships, I mentioned we have 22 that sail in Europe. We also cruise in Africa, the Zambezi Queen, which I'll talk about in a minute. That yacht is only 28 guests and 14 suites. And we're the first to offer a river cruise safari with land safari extensions. We also cruise on the Nile River in Egypt, and I just got back just a little over a week ago. I cruised on that brand new Ama on the Nile River and had an absolutely fabulous time. We're in Cambodia along the Mekong River, and we're just now pioneering cruises in Colombia on the Magdalena River, where we've invested in 2 new ship builds, and we're pioneering developing that Magdalena River, which will show you some beautiful pictures as we go. But again, these are our ships, and Ama means love, heart of the river, love of the river, and Ama before each of the ships. So AmaWaterways is the name of our company. And as I mentioned before, we own all of our vessels. This is the beautiful Ama that I was just on over in Egypt along the Nile River, which cruises round trip to Luxor with a 3-night pre-stay in Cairo. And we roll out, as you can see, a few ships at a time here. Many we're reinvesting with the Ama Stella, the Veneta, Rina, Sofia, and Sintra will all be in Europe. A brand new ship, Ama Maya on the Mekong, of course, and we talked about the Colombia with the Magdalena River. So what's it like on board the ship? We talked a little bit about the size and very few people, which makes it a very intimate, very family-oriented, relaxing experience. The captain really sets the tone all the way down through the company. He's very visible, very involved with the guests on board, and the captain has a cruise manager, as well as the hotel manager and the entire crew are there to help make your experience a memorable one. So every journey along the river is exciting and new and a personalized experience. And we're able to do that, as I said, because we have a few number of people on board the vessels, and our crew do remember your name. They remember your drink preference or how you like your coffee in the morning and what you prefer. They really strive to get that personal touch down. So I talked about the cruise manager, and what I found really helpful with the cruise manager when I was just recently on my cruise tour experience is that the cruise manager is with you on the land as well as during the cruise. The land meaning your pre-hotel stay. So for example, when we arrived in Cairo after flying that long flight from Seattle to Istanbul, right there in the airport, we were transferred with super easy visa process. They've already had our visas. It's $35. Those were already pre-done for us. And then we met our cruise manager in the lobby of the St. Regis Hotel, who took care of all of our questions and our needs and just make sure that we were well taken care of. Cruise managers are also kind of your land escorts, if you will, or a concierge or personal concierge to make sure that everything goes just perfectly. And they're so knowledgeable, everything from exchange rates, where to buy what, helping you in various markets, etc. So I found them absolutely invaluable. And we have over 85 cruise managers that we train that are on either the land or the ship with you at any given time. But also talking about the ships themselves, I wanted to show you that how beautifully appointed the rooms are. This is a room that we call a twin balcony. And we call it a twin balcony because you see the two sets of doors there. The one on the right with the orange chair in front, that's a great use of personal space there that you can still sit there in the evening. If you want to have the doors open, you can, but we call that a French balcony. So it's just a floor to ceiling window that opens up for you to enjoy the scenery go by. And then on the left, you can go out and sit outside on your own private balcony there or lay in bed and watch the scenery just go by. The colors are very warm and inviting and luxurious on board. It's well appointed. We do refer to AmaWaterways as a luxury kind of boutique hotel experience along the river with mostly everything included. The screen that you see there, Wi-Fi, is also complimentary and included in the cost of your cruise. We invest more in internet than our competitors do on fuel. So that's we know that people like to stay connected and check their email or send some postcards home online that we have from time to time, or even watch a movie. So you do have complimentary Wi-Fi on board. We do have the screen and the setup there, but you can also bring your personal devices too, such as your iPhone, and sit up in the lounge if you'd like. For those of you that have been on big cruise experiences, we do have on our flagship Ama Magna, who's twice the capacity as far as size, but only 196 guests. We have these really incredible restaurants on board. So this is the Chef's Table Restaurant. And as you can see, there's a chef in the background there that is preparing 7-course meal for our guests. And the pairings of the wines come out with all the courses. The wine every night is complimentary, handpicked to go with your organic food experience. And the food on board, we source locally in the towns and villages. And one fun fact I learned was that, yes, we have freezers on board, but the only thing that go in our freezers is gelato and ice cream. So everything is prepared fresh daily for our guests, and it's just really a nice treat and dining experience. So we have the Chef's Table Restaurant, the main dining room. We have Jimmy's, another family-style restaurant on board, and an alfresco bistro and back. So a lot of great experiences on board as far as dining. And we know once you enjoy that wonderful food, never feeling stuffed, but feeling really content, we offer wellness on board. Our owner, Christine Karst, is very into wellness. For those of you that want to continue with your routine on board, you can do that. Or those that are just wanting to try something new. We have our wellness instructor on every river cruise. You can see the smaller size of the groups. We are up on deck early in the morning, weather dependent, or we are out there in the afternoon too, just depending, doing maybe an afternoon stroll around the deck. But we do offer complimentary yoga, fitness, dance moves, Pilates, and things of that nature on board. So you keep your fitness up, and a swimming pool. So yeah, river cruise ships do have swimming pools on board. They are heated. The one I was on in Egypt was actually temperature controlled. So we had a nice, cool pool that they had with cool water flowing because it was very hot over there. And when I was there in June, so it was so refreshing to come back from our tours and get in the pool every day and have a nice cocktail in a pool. Also on board, I've had people say it's such a myth, oh, maybe I'll be bored, or are there older people on board? Absolutely not. I have to tell you, we had a fairly young group. We were busy from first thing in the morning with a wonderful breakfast to going out on tour to entertainment at night. They bring on local entertainment. We have a resident pianist who plays on board. You can see up in the corner, he gets things going in the evening. We do some karaoke. He does really plays some great hits of different genres. We bring on local entertainment. We have ice cream parties up on the deck. We have complimentary sip and sail. You can see on the right where our staff is serving cocktails before dinner. Every hour before dinner, we have an open bar where we can reconnect with the guests on board and talk about your experiences and order your favorite cocktail, which is also included in the cost of your cruise. I mentioned the complimentary Wi-Fi. We also have an AmaCruise app. I know nowadays there's an app for everything, but when you're on board on vacation, it's nice to have the Ama app, and it kind of you can follow along on your river cruise journey, read about the descriptions of where we're going on each of the stops that we make along the way, and enjoy your experience. We talked about complimentary bicycles, and that's also part of the tours. So what's really great about AmaWaterways is that your tours are also complimentary every day. We offer up to six different tours to choose from, and we pace them by what we call gentle walkers, moderate walkers, and those that are advanced. So we all know people that maybe need a little bit more time to get around and do the city tours. So we pace for that. You see the smaller groups that we go in, which make it more personable, easy to hear, easy to learn, understand, with the guide there you can see in the bottom left corner with a lollipop sign. But again, up to 6 different tours, all complimentary. You can change your mind if you sign up for them and decide in the morning, I think I'm going to go on that later tour of the city or do that later hike or rent a bicycle. We're completely flexible. We do ask before you cruise about 30 days prior on which tours you think you want to do, so you can put your name on those. So then we're able to plan ahead with the tour guides locally that will need to run the experiences. Oh, and this is a picture of the brand new, well, it's a newer, the Ama Magna. We call her the double, twice the size, but only 20% more guests. So this is the vessel that's our largest in the fleet, and 196 guests. She operates on the Danube River, which is just a great destination for this vessel. And she's the one I described all the different restaurants and a swimming pool. Oh, and a pickleball court. We even have a pickleball court regulation size on top of the Ama Magna. So you can take up to 4 at a time. You play for 30 minutes or longer, depending on if there's no signups. But all the guests have a chance to play. You can bring your own paddle if you want, or we have paddles on board as well. But our guests really enjoy this aspect of river cruising too, as the ship is cruising down the Danube. Here's a shot again of an alternative dining restaurant. This is more of a bistro. We call it the alfresco. And those windows that you see open and the top is retractable. So when it's nice in the summertime, you get this beautiful open air breeze going through there. The food is all wonderfully hand selected, as I mentioned, fresh and organic. I would say the dining on here, I've eaten in this restaurant a few times, is more forward, fresh thinking, different ways of preparing different fresh vegetables, fish, meat, etc. A favorite of many, come here in the morning, lunch, and for dinner. And then this is the wine cruises. We also have wine cruises on board. I mentioned earlier we pair the wine with dinner, and we also have a variety of departures in France that have designated wine cruise, or we have a wine cruise host on board that it will educate you about US wines compared to European wines on board. We have over 70 wine departures. Again, just included in the cost of your river cruise experience, should you want to pick that particular departure. So we talked about Europe and the various destinations along the Danube and the Rhine and the Seine, south of France. We also have the Zambezi Queen, as I mentioned, that beautiful boutique hotel on the Africa River safaris, the Mekong River. I'm going to talk a little more about Colombia and, of course, Egypt. But Africa, this is a great shot. And I'm going to walk you through the images here, starting with the bottom corner there on the left, my left. That is the Zambezi Queen. And believe it or not, that is an absolutely stunning ship on the inside. It's floor-to-ceiling windows, 14 suites, all inclusive. Every morning you're going to get on that day boat there that you see off to the side, and we're going to cruise up. There's 2 day boats that operate, and we'll take you up to find the elephants and all of the big game wildlife that are on the Chobe River. So this is a cruise, a river safari along the Chobe River that operates between Namibia and Botswana, and with a Namibian crew that gets off every night and comes on board at the crack of dawn in the morning to serve the guests on board. These are selling out. We have people already booking out now for 26 on these. We've had families that have chartered these vessels because it's perfect. And one patriarch of the family who I had met at a conference had chartered the whole vessel, and he said it was the best experience he'd ever had with his family. So that was really satisfying to hear that. And then after the 4-night river cruise safari, you would have a selection of 5 different packages to pick to Victoria Falls, Botswana, Rwanda, etc., to help with your experience. On the right there, you can see there's the wildebeest. You're out there on your own private day boat, seeing the big game from the Chobe River. So that's Africa, just a taste of the Africa experience. Colombia and the Magdalena River, also 2 vessels operating. These vessels only have 30 people on board, or 30 staterooms, I should say, 30 staterooms, suites, and 60 guests on board. And they call Colombia the land of 1,000 rhythms. So it's colorful, it's musical, there's plentiful wildlife, there's birding, there's stargazing, there's silver, there's gold, there's very friendly and welcoming people that are just delighted to have AmaWaterways bringing guests to their towns and villages. And this is where we cruise through. We'll be cruising in January, the very first, from Barranquilla to Cartagena and back again. So there's the map. If you're thinking, you maybe don't want to get over to Europe, but on down to Colombia and check out what's new down there. And this is the itinerary. So day 1 would be Cartagena, and stopping on Palenque, Calamar, San Barbara de Pinto, Mompox. A lot of rich history here with golden museums and shopping and so forth. Rich in tradition and music and rhythm and wildlife. Magica Colombia, the 2 vessels I talked about, brand new, purpose-built just to be on the Magdalena River. Oh, and one thing about AmaWaterways too is that we're dedicated only to river cruising. We're not on the oceans. That we really have rivers is in our blood of our owners, and we'll continue to pioneer various rivers around the world. So now for themed sailings, another thing that's really great, I think that Ama does, is they have these wonderful ships, beautiful destinations, and then we put different themes to them. Like, for example, Danube is classical music. It's where the famous composers were in Vienna, and there's the Budapest Opera House. There's Bratislava, where we stop, where there's Slovakian kind of folklore music vignettes and trios around every little corner that will perform and play in the town of Bratislava. Vienna, where we will experience going into the Vienna Opera House and hearing a choral performance at the Melk Abbey. So we have in 25, for those of you that are fond of music and celebrating music along the Danube, 15 departures next year that will celebrate music along the Best of the Danube itinerary across 4 of our vessels, including that beautiful flagship Ama Magna. The other theme cruising that has gained a lot of popularity is what we call our soulful cruises. celebrating Black culture and heritage along our rivers. And our very own Jasmine Dowse, who works with me in the sales department, came to the owners a little over a year and a half ago and said, I think this is something that we need to really look into. How can we cater and celebrate to the Black community? So Jasmine came up with an idea of starting with 4 departures in Paris along the Seine, beautiful Seine River, where we put together tours and experiences to celebrate Black community history and the Black diaspora and learn a little bit more about the culture there. And we kick it up in the evening where we have wonderful jazz entertainment and soulful cooking on board. And I'll show you some images here. So this is Jasmine in the middle. She just got back from Egypt, and that photo was taken at the famous Cataract Hotel in Egypt. And there's some of her group having a wonderful time. The views are just stunning along the Nile River. They're just classic Nile pictures. So there's Jasmine there. She had started the first cruise on in France. I believe it was on the Ama Christina, actually, was our first experience. So these are our list of our soulful departures for 24 and 25. So you still have time if you're interested in taking one as soon as this November on the Douro River, which is in Portugal. The Egypt in 25, also France, Colors of Provence is south of France on the Ama Christina, and also on the in Colombia on the Magdalena River on the ship on the Magdalena, October 15th. So the Ama Christina is sailing in France. We call this cruise the Colors of Provence. It's a 7-night cruise from Lyon to Arles, or reverse. Ship goes in reverse directions, of course. And then we can add a 3-night package in Europe and in Paris to stay there. So this is a wonderful itinerary. From Arles, you see down there, you would fly into Marseille, board the ship at Arles, and cruise up to Lyon, and then you would fly out of Lyon and up to Paris for your land extension there. Colors of Provence, this is an example of our soulful experience here. They went to visit the place where Josephine Baker was. And really on these soulful experience, you'll discover centuries worth of Black history as you venture to several of the sites in and around Paris during this exclusive full-day tour. You'll see the iconic Arc de Triomphe, the monument of the abolition of slavery, and you'll be with your own private guide, and they'll share the history of the Code de Noir and the decree, which was passed by King Louis XIV in 1685, which was defining the conditions of slavery. You'll learn about the Montmartre, about the cabarets, the famous jazz musicians who made their mark there. Josephine Baker was one of the many Black American artists who came to Paris in the mid-1900s, and the legendary James Baldwin lived in Paris in the late 40s, closely followed by the Harlem Renaissance painter, Buford Delaney. So really great. You'll walk through the African districts, renowned for its food, African food and street vendors, and you'll visit Little Africa, as they call it, a gallery of space and cultural initiatives. And then you'll enjoy a light lunch in Little Africa as well. So you'll have these full-day tours, these half-day tours. You'll learn so much on the soulful experiences. So Egypt, we also have a soulful experience in Egypt. And I was at that place right there, and I can tell you these pictures look just like what you'll be seeing. This is the Ama Dahlia. As I mentioned, we have 2 vessels, the Ama Lilia and Ama Dahlia. And these ships only carry 72 guests, 36 staterooms. And when I was cruising, there was only about 32 people total on board. So only about half the ship. We have been getting rave reviews about the Egypt experience because tourism is down in this area. People are not, they're making other decisions on where they want to travel. And I can tell you, I felt completely safe there. All of our guests felt safe, and it was absolutely a delightful time. As mentioned, we sail on the 2 vessels. We go round trip Luxor. You fly in early to Cairo and spend 3 days there. We use hotels like we last used the 4 Seasons. I stayed at the St. Regis Hotel, which had a beautiful restaurant venues and wonderful swimming pool and resort to pre and post of your river cruise. That sailboat there in the middle, the guests actually got on one of those. We sailed along the Nile. So we got on a little traditional sailing vessel. You'll have the opportunity to do that. We rode on camels as well, right by the pyramids. And as far as bringing money to Egypt, we exchanged money through it's called the Egyptian pound, and the dollar goes so far there for shopping. There's linens, Egyptian cottons, there's jewelry, and everything is either $5 to $10 as far as buying things there. So affordable. We even had Egyptian outfits that we wore one of the nights, and those were not more than $15 to $20. So again, the experience goes so far there. The alcohol is included with the beer and wine on board. If you want to have, in this part of the world, it is, Muslim country, so that the taxes on the liquor can be higher. But I found even if you wanted cold drinks on board the ship, very reasonable, maybe $6 to $8 additional if you wanted your own particular type of brand. So here's the trip that I took. Here's what we do in Egypt. The 3 nights in Cairo, where I mentioned we stayed at St. Regis. We got on board the vessel, and we were busy all morning. What's great about these tours is we make adjustments based on the weather. So if we know it's going to be really hot, we'll start a little bit earlier in the morning to get you all back to the ship, so you can enjoy that really cool pool and have a relaxing lunch or watch a movie in your air-conditioned stateroom. So wonderful experience. You're visiting temples, Valley of the King. We went to King Tutankhamun's tomb, and we went to the museum in Cairo, and just really an unforgettable bucket list experience. And there's just a few more pictures. As I mentioned, that was the vessel that we were on, and these are just 3,000-year-old monuments and temples and tombs that we went through and enjoyed that time together. And we also visited an authentic Nubian village. It was really interesting to see how they live. We went through their house, where they slept, how they cook. And the Nubians were very instrumental in a lot of the building in Egypt in ancient times. So I found that quite educational. Abu Simbel was an extra trip that we flew to. We flew over there. It was just an hour flight to get there. We got off, and our motor coach was waiting for us to take us to this UNESCO heritage site, where this area would have been underground had different countries step in Egypt to make sure that we're preserving our world's treasures over in this part of the world. But you can see just the monoliths, how large they were. It was quite stunning. Here's a shot of the Amadalia in the back, that open air restaurant in the back of the vessel as you cruise down, just iconic views of the Nile River. Again, with less than 60 guests on board. Oh, and see her scarf. Those are just some recent pictures. And here's mine that I got. That's one thing that we do on AmaWaterways is you get a little surprise gift in your room in the evening one night. The ladies get a beautiful scarf, and the gentlemen get a AmaWaterways baseball cap. You can see in the chair sitting there. But people having a great time at that cooking class. So Soulful departures, we do have them November 11th. These are the 26 departures. If you can't get away for 25, join us in 2026 if you want to plan ahead. And this is a shot of the Ama Christina in the south of France, our other Soulful cruise experience that we had. And just the entertainment on board is just top notch. I mean, people have a wonderful time in the evening. And what I enjoy about a river cruise experience, and I'm sure you will too, is the camaraderie of the people. You're seeing these wonderful guests from different parts of the United States, and you just come together with this interest of travel and cruise in different destinations. And you share these experiences with one another and reconnect in the evening to talk about your day. Again, another just experience of what you're going to be seeing on a river cruise, the charming towns and villages, and learning about the music and history, culture of the areas. And this is Marseille, which is in the south of France, where we do have a pre-overnight stay and tour. So I'm going to continue going here. I'm going to wrap it up and talk a little bit about booking with AmaWaterways. So if Troy is here to stand by to answer any of your questions too about dates and rates and pricing and when best time to go is. But please, hopefully decide if you're going to take a vacation or cruise with us, book by September 30th to take advantage of many savings offers that we have. So you can save up to 20% still on some select 24 and 25 river cruises if you make your deposit before September 30th. And for 26, all destinations are now loaded on our reservation system. They're open for sale. We're going gangbusters for selling 25, so much so that the owners decided to open up already for 2026. So we're offering 20% savings as well if you book and deposit by September 30th. And we know that getting to some of these destinations can be pricey with air. So we have offered up this Air Plus service. So they're at fixed air rate and economy, that's round trip air in 24 and 25 for $899 round trip. In 26, that'll be going up by $100 to $999. For those of you that need a little more room in premium economy or business, which is always nice, $22.99 for a premium and $42.99 for business class to get you there. Now, this air program is for those of you that really don't care about which carrier. We use all the major carriers, of course, American, United, Delta to get you there. But for those that don't want to be too picky and choosy about connections, cities, all of that, I mean, you could put forward what you'd like, but the company will come back and give you a schedule. You can review that schedule. You'll have a day or two to review that. If you don't want it, then you can do what we call custom air and pick your own schedule, send it in to us, and we will do a custom air itinerary for you. But this is just an opportunity to make air a little more affordable to get you there. Also, we offer summer triple savings on July and August. I know we're already in July, but anybody want to get away last minute in August? We have some cruises still with some space as soon as next month, and into 25 and 26. But for our summer sailings, this year and next, and into 26, you can save $1,000 off your cruise fare per person in the summer months. We'll give you a complimentary stateroom upgrade, so we'll upgrade your stateroom, and we'll have an onboard shipboard credit, which is $25 in 24 and 25, and we're upping that to $50 in 26. Now, the amount might seem small, but most of it's all included, as I mentioned. So you have your cocktail time, your beer and your wine, your tours are included. The only thing that's pretty much not included are your gratuities. And you're going to want to tip these people that work so hard on board the ship on your behalf. But we found we tipped a little bit along the way in cash, and then it was easy at the very end of their cruise. We just settled it on our shipboard account, and they just charged us for our gratuities there. So we do offer incentives for the summer months to travel, which is a wonderful time for families to get away and travel during the warmer months. We know that we have solo travelers. So those that want to get away, I know sometimes it can be expensive as we're based on double occupancy, but we have departure dates for our solo travelers where they have a 10% single supplement only, not 200, and even some departures where there's no single supplement at all. So they can have a double occupancy cabin all to themselves on select sailing. So look for those. Troy can help you find those departures if you're planning to travel solo. Finally, Troy is an IntelliTravel member, which is a member of Travel Leaders, which is great for you all because you have additional shipboard credit spending on board some of our select sailings as part of your amenity. So what I would do is I would use that in the gift shop on board, or maybe in the salon or spa that we have, get your nails done or hair done or get a massage. Again, very reasonably priced, I found, on board, but just some extra perks for you that Troy's able to extend to you. So this is all of our crew, one of our shots. We're here to welcome you on board. Ama means love. We would love for all of you to come experience river cruising with AmaWaterways. So our story continues, and Troy, that's it. I can open up if we have time for a few questions and answers. We can do that.
Yep, thank you, Anne. I think you've just added a number of items to my bucket list. So I can't wait to get on board and experience some of those destinations. If you have questions, again, you can put those in the chat. I do have one here that asks if there's a dance floor on board your ship.
There is a small dance floor, and believe it, we kick up our heels at night and people have a great time. Yes.
Okay. I'll give people another minute to submit a question if they have one, but while we wait on that, I'm going to go ahead. I know you have an AmaWaterways item to give away to one of our attendees, and I'm also giving away a travel voucher for airfare with 2-night hotel stay for 2 adults. So I think looking at our participants, I think Judy is going to be our big winner for tonight.
Wow,
So
congratulations.
so I will get you Judy's mailing address, so you can send that to her, and then Judy, I will email you the information for your travel voucher.
Wonderful. Judy, and what I'm giving away is this. Is this for Judy, Troy, the Ama gift?
Yes.
Yeah, Judy. So you know what we're giving away? These beautiful scarves. I just got mine in Egypt. We give these away on the ship, and they're wonderful little pashmina scarves. So Troy's will send me your address, and I'll make sure we get one mailed out to you.
I will get that to you shortly after the call tonight. All right, we'll do last call for questions. I know our dance floor question is a
We like
big
to have fun.
dancer, so I know
Yes.
they love their dance floors. Another question about how much are tips?
Yes, that's a great question. Great question. The tips on board are about $250 for the 8-day, 7-night cruise on board, and that covers everybody. That's all the ship crew, that's your guides, your tours. So all those excursions that you saw that we operate, they cover all your tours, excursions, housekeeping, dining, everything.
Okay. And that looks like it's it. So again, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight, and a big special thank you for Anne and AmaWaterways for joining us for another Travel by Troy cruise night. This will be posted to YouTube, so if you missed something or want to catch something again, you'll be able to replay it as soon as it's up on YouTube. So thank you, and hope everybody has a good evening.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Troy, so much. Have a great night.